Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more rifle testing. And we've got another round out here today that we haven't tried yet, and I would say it's definitely a pretty classic round, or at least pretty classic combination when it comes to deer hunting, so I'm definitely curious to see what it does. So for the round I've got out here today, I've got some of the Federal Power-Shok 243 rounds. These are obviously a 243, but they are 100 grain jacketed soft point rounds. And on the back of the box here, if you can see, it does say the velocity is supposed to be 2960, but I do have this other velocity marked up here at 2639, which I think that's probably going to be a little bit more accurate out of today's setup, which we'll get to in just a second. But the box is claiming 2960, but I seriously don't think we're going to see that. And the reason why I don't think we're going to see the box posted velocity is because this is the setup I've got out here today. This is a Winchester Model 70 short action carbine with what I believe Winchester calls a 20-inch barrel. It's definitely a pretty short little handy rifle. Up on top here is a Vortex Diamondback 4-12 by 40 with the BDC reticle in it. So pretty decent, little hunting scope here. And this setup has shown some good results in the past. So definitely this combination has probably taken a good number of deer over the years. So I'm definitely curious to see how this little carbine length barrel Model 70 does with the 100 grain projectiles. So as for the test, we're going to run everything the same as we usually do it. I have the target set up down at 100 yards. We're going to shoot 3 groups. They're going to be 3 shots each. I do have the chronograph as well, so we'll be able to see our velocities and calculate our energy numbers. And once we get done taking our groups, we'll bring the target up here and we'll take a look with my digital calipers and measure things and see how it actually performed. But let's go down here and get you guys a view of this target in the chrono and start these groups and see what this combination can actually do for us today. Alright, so let's take a quick look at our chronograph numbers here and see what it gave us. Obviously, we did not see the box claim of 2960, which doesn't surprise me at all, only having a 20-inch barrel, but I do think we were a little bit above what I had written on the box previously, potentially because of cold weather or anything like that. I really don't know, but let's scroll through here and see what the actual numbers tell us. So for a high, it gave us 2704. For a low, it gave us 2666. And that gave us an average of 2688. So definitely, a little bit on the slower side for 243, but it's not at all surprising considering the setup we're running it through. It's a 100 grain hunting round through a carbine length barrel. So that 2688 doesn't really surprise us at all. It's pretty much exactly what I would expect to see out of a setup like this. But how did it actually perform as far as accuracy goes? Let's go over to the target and measure some things and take a look. Alright, so now we're looking at our target here, and this is what we got. We definitely saw some good results, but the first group there is definitely the worst group of the day, I'd say. That was my first shots of the day. It was on a rifle that had a clean bore and a cold bore, so I mean, it kind of is what it is. It's not really any excuses, because I'm still going to count that as a valid group, but I figured I'd mention that just to take note of it regardless as it compares to the other 2 groups. But let's actually measure them and see what it gave us. We'll start with the first group there in the middle and measure it and see what kind of numbers it gave us. Okay, so that first group gave us a 1.24 inch group. So 1.25 inches, I mean, that's definitely good enough to, take out after a deer or something like that. There's no doubt about that. Now, is it, a super impressive group, all things considered? No. So just looking at the rest of the groups we shot now versus that 1.24 that we started with, I think we're definitely heading in the right direction here. And I definitely think it's going to start looking a whole lot better as far as the numbers go. But let's move up to the top left group there, which was our second group, and measure it, because I think that might be our best group of the day. Okay, so that second group gave us 0.64 inches. Definitely a pretty good looking group there for factory loaded ammunition. That's Federal Power-Shok, which isn't known to be like, some precision based ammunition necessarily. With a 100 grain hunting bullet in a carbine length barrel, that's not too bad at all, I wouldn't say. That would absolutely do the job on anything you could really want it to. A 0.6 inch group, that's definitely pretty good in my book. So after seeing that, moving over to our third group in the top right, I don't think it was quite as good, but it's still definitely better than our first group. But let's measure it and see what it gave us. Okay, so that third group gave us 0.83 inches. So we're still sub MOA on that. Under an inch, which is absolutely what I like to see, even in my hunting rifles. So that is, more than good enough for anything that you would ever really use a setup like this for, I'd say. So overall here, that first group, we can sit here and make whatever excuses we want for it, but that was definitely the worst group of the day, considering we got a 0.6 and a 0.8 inch group right afterwards. So overall, I'm definitely pretty happy with how that stuff performed. I would definitely, not have any concerns about taking that out in the woods after a deer. It would absolutely get the job done. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that performance there? Definitely not looking too bad, I wouldn't say. We're sub MOA on 2 out of the 3 groups, and that first group, it just is what it is. 1.2 inches, still not too terrible, for a hunting rifle. It would absolutely do the job. But seeing that 0.6 and 0.8 inch group, that's the kind of stuff that I like to see. Definitely for a factory loading like that, that's not, renowned for its accuracy capabilities. As a precision load, definitely not too bad at all. But as always, leave your thoughts in the comments and let me know, is that about what you expected to see? Did it surprise you a little bit for the loading that it is? And if you have a similar setup like this and you've tried these Power-Shok 243 loads, have you gotten some similar results? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got a bunch more tests to film for y'all, so I'm going to get back to it. We do have the channel Instagram as well as a mailbox where you can send things to the channel. So if you're interested in that information, it will be in the description for you. But I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.